All right, for the carousel, it comes together in just a couple of pieces. The base and the roof, and then some poles that hold on to all of our little characters. To start with, I'm going to make the base, and it is of several pieces. There's these 4 that will make up the sides, and we're going to start with them by folding on all of our lines here. It'll make it easier if it's all flexible and ready to go. There we go. Go ahead and glue these together and fold the others while the glue is getting set. Just a little bit of glue on the tab. I want to make sure that they're lined up on the fold line here, but also nice and straight. I actually kind of like to do that by just standing it up. If everything sits nice and square, we're good to go. I need to fix it. There. All right. I'm going to set those aside while I get this one folded. And then I'll add that one. A little high. There we go. This one in place, and then I'll attach this last panel to that first one to close off and make it an octagon. I do have some escaping little bits there, but that's fine because there's decorative panels I'll add later. You could add them right now if you wanted to. I actually haven't decided the color yet, so I don't have these cut. I want to see everything put together a little bit more before I make that decision. You can add them now, you can add them later, whatever's going to work better for your workflow. And there we have it. Okay, so I have my octagon. I'm gonna let that glue get set before I do too much. And it doesn't really matter which one goes first. I am gonna go ahead and do this one first, I think. I think it'll be better that way, because then I can close the octagon with this one and all the tabs are covered. I don't have to cut another octagon using another 12 by 12 paper, because these are 10 1/4 by 10 1/4, so it takes the bigger paper. I'd rather save some of that. So I'm going to take each one of these tabs, add some glue all the way around, or you could do a couple of them and fold them up and do a couple of them after the glue is set. Depends on how fast your glue is going to get set up on you. I feel like I can make it all the way around and be okay. All right, got that. I take this one with all the holes and place it in here. I'm gonna give it a push along each one of those tabs and make sure that it's up against the side. I don't want anything to be bowing out. So I need this to be nice and snug. There. So, no escaping glue, that's fine. That's what it's going to look like. We've got a decorative panel I'll put in place, but I'm not going to do that right now because I'm going to use this and this to put in my posts to help keep them straight. I'll show you that in a little bit. For right now, I'm going to go ahead and add some glue to just one tab. The other one I don't mind doing all of them at once, but when it's this outside, I like to do just a couple at a time. Start with one, get it lined up just right. It's kind of awkward with how big everything is. There we go. Make sure it's really secure on there. Now, I'm going to just work my way around a couple of tabs at a time. You can do all of them if you want. Trying to do it on camera makes it a little bit awkward. I like to stand up over top of my projects and look straight down, which would block your view. So I'm going to just do a couple at a time so you can actually see what's going on here. And that's okay if it bends just a little bit. It's not gonna, it's easy to pop it back out if you need to, if you accidentally bend it like that. There we go. We're gonna turn around here. If you really want, you can take a ruler or something flat and slide it in there and apply pressure to those tabs from the inside. Get a little tricky doing that, but if it's gonna really help get a hold, I need to add glue here. All my tabs are going to be glued. I'll close that off. There. Turn it over. Go ahead and just press down just a little bit, nice and gentle. All right, so that is the base. We're going to decorate that in a little bit. Next, we're going to go ahead and work on putting together the roof. The roof itself is made of 4 pieces here that are going to make the cone of the roof. And just like the base, I'm going to fold each one of these pieces so that the tabs are ready when it's time to glue them. Okay, I'll move these out of the way. I'm going to add some glue. There. I'm not going to glue this piece just yet. I want to be able to lay this flat still, and that's going to start giving me a shape lifting off of the table. I'm not ready for that just yet. There we have it. Then I'll continue around and do the next one. everything lined up just right. And then the last one. There we go. Push on that. Now I'm going to go ahead and add glue to here so that I can close it off and have my cone shape for the top of the carousel. Everything in position, and then it's easier to reach, so I'm going to start at the bottom to apply some pressure and work my way on up. Getting to that top can be a little tricky. There we go. Alright, so now we've got our cone shape, but these aren't attached yet. I'm actually going to go ahead and put on our decorative panels now, or we could go ahead and close off the bottom. Let's go ahead and close the bottom. That'll give us a stronger curve for lining up the decorative panels. Just add a little bit of glue to the tab and hold it in place, and it'll start turning this edge here to be vertical and leave the top of the roof at an angle. I'm just giving it a little bit of a couple seconds of pressure, pinching it together to get that glue to take hold. I don't want anything shifting on me as I move around. Last one. Okay, so now that the entire lid or top of the carousel is done, what we're going to do is go ahead and put each of the triangles, decorative triangles, on the sides. And to do that, I'm just going to use a little bit of glue, enough to keep it there. You don't want to do too much because sometimes that glue shows through, especially if you're using thin paper. I do want to make sure to get it all the way to the corners. Don't want anything kind of peeling back, just a little bit. Not too much. Then I'm going to start by just lining up at the bottom, making sure everything's centered exactly the way I want, and I can run my finger up. And that will get it just the way I need it to be. And I can keep going all the way around. Oops. And get all 8 of them in place. So I'll keep going on that in a minute. Got lucky. It's pure luck that my lines came together like that, but I love when that happens. So the next step, once I have all of those in place, is I could choose either a straight piece, decorative piece of whatever decoration or pattern paper I want to go there as just a solid little thing, or I've chosen instead to cut the little bunting, and I'm going to put it on there. And you'll notice, I'll turn this over here, that when you look at it from the other side, those little half circles stick out just a little bit. So I need to keep that in mind when I'm putting my glue on, that it covers almost entirely here, but there's a little bit of spots right in those corners, so you need to be careful. I'm just going to add some glue like that. I'm not going to put any down on these little bumps. I'm going to take it and make sure I'm centered and put it across just like that. There we go. And the next one, I'll do exactly the same thing again. Just put a little, oops, see, that's what you shouldn't do. Don't put glue down like that. Wasn't thinking. There we go. Thankfully it's not like it's going to be a huge problem, but you're just cleaner not to get it down there. There. I'll go ahead off camera and continue around in a circle and finish putting those on, and then I will start working on the next step. Alright, before we start decorating the bottom or putting any of the center pillar or any of that other stuff in, we need to take the lid and turn it over, and you'll notice that there is a piece that has holes all around it and tabs. What I did is I folded those tabs up, center like that, and it's actually going to just drop straight in here. It doesn't feel like it, but it will actually sit right up against that spot where it bends. It's going to rest right on this corner here. So what I'm going to do is put it in place, apply glue here and position it so that it can hold in position. Just go like that. I'm going to fold this up, add some glue, and then hold that in place. And then I'm going to go to the opposite side, hold it up, and do all the same again. I'm going to do that for every tab until all 8 are glued in place. And these holes are going to be what your vertical dowels are going to go into to support the characters that you put on your carousel. So go ahead and finish those, and then we will make the center pillar to support the whole thing. Alright, so the next step in the carousel is getting together the center pillar that's going to go through this hole and support the roof. What it is just this piece here and 2 round circles to help support the ends and maintain its shape. For this score line here, you don't want to actually fold it because you don't want a hard bend in your carousel support. So instead, try to encourage your paper to roll. You can do that however you want, maybe on the side of your table or something. Just kind of get into a circular shape a little bit. You don't want to bend anything though. And then I'm going to put glue along here and make my cylinder. Of course, my glue is a little clogged. There we go. You want to make sure you get it lined up nice and straight on here because you need your cylinder to fit through the hole in the center. And if you don't get it the right size, you're not going to be able to get it to fit. So it is a little awkward, but you're just going to line it up over here, hold it in place, and then bring this over to the end. There we go. Now I'm going to hold it so that those two plate ends get secure enough that I can put it face down on my table and press on the inside to get the center part attached. And there we go. Got along that line there. Make sure that it's really well and truly attached, because this is what's going to support the roof of your carousel. The little sticks that hold on to our characters are more decorative. They don't actually do the supporting. This is where it's all at. So now I'm going to pre-fold these to make sure that they're ready. I'm going to fold them back out, because what I need to do, this is a little tricky on camera, I'm going to put glue on here, fold them in, and then I'm going to take one of these circles and drop it down in there. And then I'm going to be using a ruler, something long you need to be able to push in and get that into place. And this will help it maintain the rounded shape when you push it through the center support hole. If you don't do this, you might end up with the cylinder that you're making here kind of caved in on one side, or just not quite maintaining shape the way you need it to. It doesn't have to be pretty on the inside, because nobody's ever going to see this, but I do need all of these little tabs to have enough glue to attach to that circle I'll drop down in there. Okay, put it down like that. And fold these out of the way, because they're going to get bent later anyway. And drop circle, just drop it in there. Let's see if I can do this on camera. There we go. Make sure all of them have a chance to be pressed on. I can kind of even swipe at it a little bit with my ruler. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Fix this one and these. And make sure that they're all pretty well positioned. Just fold those over again. And everything a push. So I'm going to let that glue set for just a minute and go ahead and take this. Notice I don't have any decoration on it yet. I could have done these side panels here earlier, but I hadn't picked up paper to put over it, so I've decided to go ahead and match my bunting from the lid, or the roof. So I'm going to go ahead and start gluing those on while I let my cylinder set, because I'm going to have to take it and push it through this hole here, and it'll fit, but I just want to make sure that I don't have that circle that I've dropped down in there come out of position. So these go on quite simple. Just a little bit of glue. Oops. Make sure I get my corners. And then I'll just line it up and glue that in place. There we go. I will go ahead and do the other 7, and then I'll show you how to do that cylinder. Alright, so I've got all my little decorative panels around the outside, and this has had some time to sit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue on the bottom, and then I'm going to get it in the center here and press it down a little bit so that my cylinder, in the center here, is secure. There we go. I'm going to be pretty generous with my glue. I just want to make sure that it really sticks on there, and it'll be fine. Go ahead and set it in there. And then I'm going to take my ruler and do the same thing again. I'm going to press it down into position, just like that. Alright, with this in place, and having given it a good push, I am ready to do a couple of things. I want to get this in place on top. I'm going to glue it down so that this maintains its shape, and it gives you a larger surface to put glue on to get your lid in place. I am also going to put this on. I'm not actually going to glue it just yet because it's going to help me position these sticks. I'm going to use it to help make sure that they're straight and vertical, but I don't want to forget and glue everything together and then see this sitting off to the side and say, oh dear, I forgot. So I am going to start by folding these in. And I just slide this over the top. Inside again. Again, I'm not going to glue it, and don't even have to put it all the way down. I kind of actually want to leave it up a little bit because that's about where I'm going to want it to be while I'm putting these sticks in place. So just to kind of help maintain this circle shape, you can skip this if you want, but I like the idea of putting glue on those tabs and then gluing that circle down. It gives me more space to put glue for the roof, and it just makes me feel a little bit better that there's a little bit more secure. It helps the cylinder stay really round. It doesn't have to be perfect. This will never be seen. It's just kind of help maintain shape and the extra surface area. So if it's sticking out a little bit here or a little bit under on one side, that's okay. But I try to get as close as I can. That way it is as round as possible. There we go. All right, so the next step is going to be cutting all of the little posts that are going to hold up your characters. I'm just using some like baking craft, I think they're baking lollipop sticks or something like that, cake pop sticks. They come about 12 inches long, so that they're a little bit too long for what I need, but I painted them with some shiny gold acrylic paint, and then I put a mark on each one at 7 7/8. And I'm going to cut out that line. That'll be long enough. If you wanted, you could actually put this up against the side, put your lid on, and then mark where it hits right about on that line or just slightly above, because you need it to go through this hole and stay in place, but not actually hold or push up on the other side, because we're not going to glue the top or anything. We're just going to glue the bottom of each one. But 7 7/8, 7 3/4, somewhere in there should be the right length. Either one, just kind of aim for which can. And then I've been just taking scissors and cutting these. Just got to rotate it a little bit. And there we go. So I have all 8 of mine prepared. And I am going to go through, plug in my hot glue gun, and put each one in place. And I'm going to try to use the factory cut end on the bottom, because that is the end I will be gluing, and I do want these to stay as vertical as absolutely possible. So I'm going to put one in each and every hole. And part of the reason I've left the decorative panel up is it helps them stand up a little more straight. It gives it a little bit of support. So while I'm doing this, it'll help keep them where I need them to be. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go one at a time and just pull it up, add some hot glue to the very bottom, and then put it in place and hold it nice and straight. All right, this might be a little bit hard to show on camera, but again, what I'm going to do to put these in place is I'm going to take it out, and I'm not going to pull it all the way out because I'm trying to take my hot glue through this hole. I'm just going to make a mess. So I actually have to take it and tip it, add my glue to the bottom, and then run it straight through that hole. And I'm going to look at it from the side and try to make sure that that is perfectly straight up and down as best as I can get it. And that is that. I'm gonna just turn and go on to the next one. And I'm gonna do the same exact thing for every single one of my posts. Just put it straight down. There we go. Move my hot glue gun closer and just keep working my way around. I'll show on one more. It's okay if it's a little bit sloppy on the bottom of it. What I don't want, well, that's a little too much. What I don't want is to get it on the side over here. So I just have to be careful as I run it through. I am not great with hot glue. I hate using it. So, there we go. All right, I've got these ones in place. I'll go ahead and do the other 5 and then we'll move to the next step. All right, so now I have all 8 of these glued in place and they're as vertical as I can get them. They still have a little flex, so if it's a little off, it's okay. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna add some glue on the underside onto this layer here, kind of towards the middle, and then slide my decorative panel down. That's just kind of help it get adhered in there. If you can see in there, I'm going to just put some glue. And then I'm going to come back with this glue. It dries a little too fast. So I'm going to come back and do the edges more one at a time. Otherwise, I'm afraid this glue will have set by the time I get this slid down. So I'm going to just slide this right down there. If I had known what color my base was going to be, my decorative panel, I would have done this, my structure, in a green or a blue to kind of hide that tiny little line there, but I didn't know what color I was going to choose. And once I get everything together, you're never going to really notice that. It'll be fine. But choosing your inside color to kind of match or coordinate your decorative panels usually helps with any little mistakes you might make. So now that the center is attached, I'm going to go ahead and just run a line of glue right along there. There we go. And move to the next one. And this I could even probably do about 2 at a time. But this glue dries a little too fast for me to do all of them and then slide this down into position. So. The next step is by far the trickiest, trying to get that lid in place with all of those little posts. So I'll try to do it on camera, and I should be able to, I think, I hope. But I end up having to move it around and look at it in different angles and things like that. But ultimately what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue here, and then I'm going to put this in position and quickly get each one of these through a hole. I'm not going to bother putting glue on here because they may or may not get all the way through. But just place it down and then go through one post at a time. It helps if you look from underneath, if you like, you can set it somewhere high, or you can lean down and go through and get them all into position. As they start going in, this will get less wobbly and sit all the way down onto your pillar. So go ahead and give it a shot. Just takes a little bit of time for it to go. I'm going to use kind of a lot of glue, partly because I want it really strong, and also if I use more glue, it takes longer for it to really set, and so I've got a little bit of wiggle still. Come down on it here. There we go. Once you get them all in place, apply a little bit of pressure there. Give them all a little bit of a wiggle. Make sure they are where they need to be. Okay, all my pillars are where they should be. And I'm going to go ahead and press on the top. Try to make sure that this roof is making good contact with my center pillar. There we go. I'm going to let that set before I try to pick it up and tip it too much. All right, my glue's had a few minutes to set, so I feel like it's safe for me to turn it over. That one is a little out. There we go. So as you can see, it's glued to the top, and each one of my posts is sticking through the holes. And those posts are going to be what's going to keep my little critters in place. My glue got away from me a little bit, but I've never... It's fine. You're not going to actually see it when it's sitting out on your table or anything, and people are crawling underneath to look at your glue. Well, that's that. So, to place my animals, what I want to do is decide what order I want them to be in, and then I like to line them up so that I can keep track, because maybe I don't want all my horses next to each other, or I would like to spread things out a little different. So, I think I'm going to go with that order. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my giraffe. He's nice and tall, so I want him on the down, I think. I don't think I want him up high. So I'm going to kind of hold him. It's easier if I can leave this on the table, but I'm going to hold him here. And I am going to take a pencil and kind of, as I'm holding it, I'm going to hold my pencil where I want to put my mark. And then now that he's out of the way, I can go ahead and do that. And if I put them back in there, I'm trying to mark where it is I want my glue to be. So if I want to, I can get real risky and try to write directly above him. And then just plan to put it up just a tiny bit. So then if I know it's going to go there, I can go up extra and mark there. And so if I put glue between this line and this line, I can then come and put my giraffe over top, and you won't see the lines at all. So you're going to have to figure out what's going to work for you. It's kind of awkward me holding it up like this, so I'll give it my best shot with this giraffe. Just a little bit of hot glue. And I'm going to place the giraffe over top of that glue. And there he goes. And next, I've decided that I'm going to have my unicorn, and I'm going to just come along and do exactly the same thing again. And I've got my little lion. I'm going to alternate the up and the down, so as it turns, it looks like they're actually moving through the carousel's up and down action. So I will go ahead and do one more animal here. I'll go ahead and do my unicorn. Again, I'm going to just hold it. Try to hold it so you can see that there. I don't want to go too high because I don't want them hidden in the roof. I'm going to go right about there. And again, I'm going to drop it down just a tiny bit and mark. And if that's covered, I'm going to go up a little bit and mark. Make sure that that's going to be covered. All right, so I got my two little spots. Put a little line of glue. And if you want to just do a dot of glue, you can do that. I feel like a line is a little more secure, but I think whatever's going to work. I like hot glue because it grabs it pretty fast and I can let go again. Just got to watch out for your little stringy lines. So I'll go ahead and finish the rest of the little critters.